Hello everyone. Monday, December the 19th, the fourth week of Advent. Minute plus meditation here. First, the reading is taken from the book of Judges, chapter 13. This is about the birth of Samson, or not the birth, the conception of Samson. So, it's another case of one of these miraculous conceptions leading up to the birth or the conception of Jesus. So this involves there was a certain man of Zorah of the tribe of Dan, whose name was Manoah. His wife was barren. And the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, "Although you are barren, having borne no children, you shall conceive and bear a son." And then he gives certain criteria. This child will be called, he will be a Nazarite, meaning, now be careful not to drink wine or strong drink, or to eat anything unclean, for you shall conceive and bear a son. No razor is to come on his head, for the boy shall be a Nazarite to God from birth, and he will deliver his people. Samson will have a colored future, that's for sure, colored history. But the point here is that God, is remaining faithful to the promise he made way back in Genesis, and we have a miraculous birth, and there'll be a number of these down through the history of salvation. And this is exactly what's going to happen. Is the woman bore a son and named him Samson. The boy grew, and the Lord blessed him. The Spirit of the Lord began to stir him. So again, Samson will be far from perfect, let me tell you. But it shows how the Lord can and does bless certain instruments that are very imperfect. Samson, he's one of those mixed figures, as it were. But God uses Samson to further his plan to bring about, glory for himself. Samson will bring about the destruction of many of the enemies of Israel. And he will be another key instrument in the history of salvation. So, as we're leading up to the great feast of Christmas, we should strive to, in our own way, offer sacrifices just as Samson's mother was not eating anything unclean and so on. We can make our own sacrifices to prepare our hearts to receive the birth of Jesus. Okay, over to the Gospel, chapter 1 of St. Luke. This is when Zechariah goes into the Holy of Holies, and there's an appearance of an archangel. So then there appeared to him an angel of the Lord standing at the right side of the altar of incense. Then Zechariah saw him, he was terrified, and fear overwhelmed him. So the angel says, "Your wife will conceive," and we know what happens. Zechariah says, "Well, how will I know that this is so? For I'm an old man now, and my wife is getting on in years." In other words, you should have answered my prayer 40 years ago, 50 years ago. But now it can't happen now. Now, that's not just my take, but what the angel says to him indicates that was the content of his answer, or his response to the angel. And he is silenced for 9 months. His wife does conceive, and John the Baptist is born. Now, you can well imagine that Zechariah felt great sorrow. He's a holy man, a very righteous man in the proper sense of the term. And he felt great sorrow at having doubted that what God said was going to happen was going to happen. Is it normal? No. But when God says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Just like Manoah and his wife. Now it's Zechariah and his wife. This is the way God tends to work. It's like when all human hope has been sort of put aside, we must retain hope that if God wants it to happen, it's going to happen. Sometimes it won't happen, but if God wants it to happen, it will happen. So we at least have to hand things over to God and put it at His disposal, and we just never know, literally never know. So as we again begin this ascent, think about it as ascent into, through the week of this final week of Advent to the great reality of Christmas, let us really strive to pray for the virtue of hope. No one ever thought that God would become a man, be united to human nature, but what God actually had said, although it was hidden, the full reality was hidden, it did happen because God wanted it to happen. God bless you.